Good afternoon and many thanks for making time for KTN Newsdesk. This is indeed news as it happens. It is the 5th day of September 2013. My name is Boni Tunya. Coming up on this particular bulletin, Parliament reconvenes. Parliament's last push to remove Kenya from the Rome Statute. We will also revisit the sick hospital of Bungoma as Health Cabinet Secretary takes action against the rogue nurses. Also on this bulletin, government's last action on IDPs. It is the final phase of resettlement as the government opts for cash settlement with the IDPs. Welcome to the program. The push for Parliament to remove Kenya from the Rome Statute makes up our developing story this afternoon. Right, Parliament has reconvened to have a final push to remove Kenya from the ICC just coming days before the case against William Ruto at the ICC is set to start. Now, the National Assembly reconvenes this afternoon for a special sitting to debate a motion to pull out of the Rome Statute. The motion will be moved by Majority Leader Aden Duale. Now, the session has been preceded by parliamentary group meetings of both the Jubilee and CORD coalitions. While Jubilee is pushing for the adoption of the Duale motion, CORD is opposed, saying the motion is ill-timed. We're now joined by KTN Sam Ogina live from Parliament buildings with the very latest on this matter. Good afternoon, Sam.
Good afternoon, Boni Tunya. Indeed, we are live from Parliament buildings, and I've just been informed that ODM parliamentary group meeting has actually ended, and ODM has resolved that is not going to support the motion that is going to be tabled by Majority Leader, that is Aden Duale, to repeal the International Crimes Act, that is to actually essentially initiate the process of removing the country from the Rome Statute that domesticated the ICC. Now, in under 1.5 hours, parliamentarians will start streaming into this building with that is the Jubilee Alliance parliamentarians actually having finished their parliamentary group meeting equally at the Pan-Africa Hotel and crystallizing the support for the Duale motion, that is the motion to actually remove the country from the International Criminal Court as a member state. Now, Boni, what I can tell you is that the motion is ready. The order paper, of which I'm holding in my hand right here, is actually with very bold writing. If you could see, that is order of the day, special sitting of Parliament. Now, if I can just bring you to speed with what this motion intends to do, is that it is actually in two phases, and that is the first one of the motion is actually to urge parliamentarians, that is to repeal the International Crimes Act, and equally urge the government to commence petitioning, that is the United Nations Security Council, to remove the country from the Rome Statute. Now, here's the deal. What Duale wants is that within 30 days of passing this motion, then a bill to be introduced in Parliament to repeal the Rome Statute. Boni?
Right, Sam, again, and of course we do understand that whether or not Kenya pulls out of the ICC, that has no bearing whatsoever on the cases before the ICC currently going, right?
Well, that is very true, and in fact, that is Duale, the Majority Leader, actually alluded that his motion actually has nothing to do with the cases going on in the International Criminal Court facing Deputy President William Ruto, whose trial begins on 10th, and that is the president himself, President Uhuru Kenyatta. But what Duale says is that, and it is a view that is shared across the board in the Jubilee Alliance, is that the motion seeks to cushion Kenyans, any Kenyan, from facing a foreign judicial jurisdiction, that no Kenyan for that matter should actually be ferried into a foreign country to face a judicial process that is facing President Uhuru Kenyatta, Deputy President William Ruto, and radio journalist Joshua Arap Sang. Now, we understand that Deputy President William Ruto is actually scheduled to travel from the country to The Hague on Monday, and he'll be accompanied by at least 40 or so parliamentarians from the Jubilee Alliance. What we also understand is the Jubilee Alliance leaders, parliamentarians, when I say parliamentarians, that means members from the National Assembly and the members from the Senate, have actually said that they're going to accompany the Deputy President all across and also hold prayer rallies for the two when they are at The Hague. Those who will be accompanying the leaders at The Hague, and also a group that will be having prayer rallies across the country as this process continues. Bonnie?
All right, Samogina, many thanks for that update coming from Parliament. Of course, in our subsequent bulletins, we'll be there for you to bring you the latest happenings regarding this particular move of parliamentarians to remove Kenya from the Rome Statute. Also, Bungoma Governor Kenneth Lusaka and his Minister for Health, Grace Kahayata, have this morning paid a visit to the Bungoma District Hospital, where an unattended expectant woman gave birth on the floor and was later scolded by them and mistreated by the nurses. The governor arrived at the hospital to assess the situation in the wake of a report carried by KTN highlighting the incident. This even as it now emerges that the hospital has banned the use of mobile phones by patients. The incident came to light after a patient at the hospital filmed the expectant woman's entire ordeal at the hands of the nurses. 4 nurses at the hospital have been suspended, and the incident is the subject of an investigation launched by the government. Lusaka recommended that the top management at the hospital be transferred, saying no civil servant should remain at the same post for over 3 years. The remaining 8,298 IDPs still living in camps are set to be resettled by the end of September. The government has decided on a cash payment to resettle the IDPs and forest evictees. Cabinet Secretary for Devolution and Planning, Anne Waigoro, says the government has committed 3.3 billion shillings for the exercise. Each household will receive cash payment of just about 400,000 shillings to support their resettlement and a further 10,000 shillings for logistics. Waigoro also says the government will give the IDPs an opportunity to decide where they want to settle.
The money we are giving is by no means going to compensate for the suffering that they have endured, but it will help them to move on with their lives as they see fit. Bank accounts for the IDPs have been opened with local banks who will be at hand on the day to confirm the details of the accounts and to offer any other advice and services to the IDPs. Government officials have also been instructed to offer support to the IDPs, as with all other citizens, in ensuring they are amicably integrated in their choice destinations.
We start our county road trip in Kisumu, where the county governor Jack Ranguma has suspended 6 staff members of his county government with immediate effect. The officers are implicated in gross corruption and mismanagement of the county resources. An audit conducted unearthed that what was referred to as shocking and rote corruption that has been taking place in the county over a long period of time. According to the audit, the officers misappropriated hundreds of millions of shillings during the transition from local authority to the new county government and immediately after election, when the new administration was still settling in. The officers are said to have attempted to sell over 500 houses and council estates valued at just about 1.1 billion to private developers without following due process. The 6 are also accused of running a parallel account system, including an illegal strong room with fake receipts and accounting documents through which they channeled revenues collected from the traders and other businesses. The suspected 6 are Adrian Ouma from Engineering Department, Absalom Ayany from the Planning Department, Batha Adera and Peter Kaila, both from the IT Department, together with Maurice Matunga and Peter Ogada, who are both clerical officers. Elsewhere, infighting in the Nyamira County Assembly is affecting the delivery of services as a section of the county representatives have filed a motion of no confidence against Governor Nderito Gachagua. The censure motion will be tabled in 7 days. Those who want to impeach him claim that Gachagua has been using funds without the approval of the Assembly. However, another section of the Assembly representatives have come out in Gachagua's defense, saying his actions were in accordance with the County Appropriation Act. Carol Derry has that report.
Battle lines have been drawn in the Nyamira County Assembly as a section of the representatives filed a motion of no confidence against the Nyamira Governor Nderito Gachagua. Led by the Majority Leader Anthony Mwangi Kifo, the group accusing Gachagua of misappropriating funds had this to say over the alleged misuse of the funds.
The county government has grossly violated the provision of the Constitution, especially in Chapter 6 of the Constitution on leadership and integrity, by spending 210,446,776 shillings.
And although party politics have for a long time affected the affairs of the Assembly, as majority are in TNA while Gachagua was elected on a GNU ticket, those accusing him say that this was not the said party politics at play, but the impunity in which the Nyamira governor is alleged to be displaying.
The county governor has grossly abused his office by disrespect members of the county assembly by issuing inflammatory statement.
Sisi wote tulishauriwa tufanye kazi ile tulishauriwa tufanye, lakini si kuenda Nairobi unapatiwa 5,000 unarudi Nyeri unakoroga fitina, unarudi Nairobi unapatiwa 10,000 unakoroga fitina Nyeri, shindwa kabisa.
However, another section of the county assembly quickly came to Gachagua's defense, saying that the alleged 210 million shillings was used to pay workers as laid out in the Nyamira Appropriation Act. Led by the chairman of the Finance and Planning Committee, Paul Mwangi Ngiria, the group defended Gachagua, saying those who lost to him are behind his current woes.
They are working from outside forces. These outside forces, they are those who failed during the general election.
True. Pesa iliyotumika, manake sisi ndio tulipitisha hii bill, ni pesa ya kulima wafanyikazi. The recurrent expenditure on the development issues that has not been spent.
The two groups engaged each other in a bitter exchange of words as the anti-Gachagua group said that 30 members had appended their signatures to the impeachment motion, while the pro-Gachagua group claimed the 30 signatures had been doctored.
The motion actually is to give a vote of no confidence to our Governor Nyeri.
We fully support the governor and we are not relenting.
Gachagua himself awaits a court ruling on Monday the 9th on the petition filed against his election as the Nyeri governor. As the accusations and counter-accusations continue to fly by, it is clear that this is affecting the business of the house, and the residents of Nyeri are anxious to see that this is resolved as it is happening at the expense of their welfare. Carol Derry for KTN in Nyeri Town.
The Salaries and Remuneration Commission has stated that it will fight to remain a strong institution despite alleged efforts by various political quarters to paralyze it. The commissioners have also condemned a move by members of parliament to pull out of the control of the commission, saying they too are public servants and their remuneration review mandate fall within the commission's mandate.
SRC conducted its first job evaluation sometimes last year, and that was the basis within which the salaries were set. We were bringing in the issue of job evaluation because we realized there was no framework within which salaries were being set. It only depended on who was strong within which system. And we thought there is need for us to introduce a scientific and a defensible system within which salaries can be set. And that is what we went out to look at that. And besides that, we realized that the public service wage moved to levels that were truly unsustainable. And the direction at which we are moving is one that, unless it is well taken care of, and thank God that SRC was therefore brought in to look at that, we would move to a point of economic crisis.
Bunge la Wananchi has today raised their concerns toward the move by the government to implement the new VAT law, saying it will hurt the economy and impoverish Kenyans. Led by their chairperson, John Kiptoo, they claim that Kenyans are aware that the VAT bill was popularly opposed by many Kenyans and was a product of compromise negotiations and horse trading between MPs paying the government's revenue gaps. On the other hand, they have also accused Nairobi County Council staff of continued brutality and harassment, and now want the Nairobi Governor Evans Kidero to intervene.
Tunaambia serikali watafute ushuru pengine, lakini wasitafute ushuru kwa mdomo ya Mkenya wa kawaida. Manake tayari maisha ni magumu kwetu. Kukimu familia, kupeleka watoto hospitali, kila siku kila Mkenya ako na changamoto. Wakenya mtu watchman, Mkenya mtu ambaye anafanya kazi ya chini. Ukweli ya Mungu ukimuongezea bei kwa hizo bidhaa ambazo ni muhimu, itakuwa ni kama kumshurutisha maisha yake kabisa. Kwa hivyo sisi tunaambia serikali si lazima wa tax hizi basic commodities. Watafute tax mahali pengine.
Hao workers hawana nafasi ya kuongea, wale watu wa mabodaboda hawana nafasi ya kuongea. Tunasema pia watu kama wale watu wote wanadhulumiwa kama mechanics walifurushwa juzi hawana nafasi ya kuongea, na tunasema ya kwamba kitu ya muhimu sana ilipita mwaka 3 na kulikuwa na requirement kwamba public participation ikuwe imefanyika kwa mwaka 3. Hiyo ilipita 27 of August. Kwa hivyo tunasema sasa sisi tutajiunga na tuanze kufuma public participation katika hii mahali ya Nairobi.
And of course the VAT debate continues online, but coming up on the other side of this particular show, we're talking about how farmers can get information in a platform that enables them to reach it where they are. I'm talking about Soko Pep, and the gentleman on your screen, Anthony Mugo, will be talking to me about that. Stay tuned.